Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to Week 5 Map Tactics. As you can see, the winner this week is Pearl River, which was the most requested. So remember, if you want to see your map next week, go down in the comments below, leave what map you want to see, and make sure you upvote. These videos take me quite a while to do, so if you've enjoyed this by the end of it, please consider rating it at the bottom. I must add the caveat that these are my map tactics that have allowed me to get my 1800 plus efficiency, my 2000 WN7 and 60% wins purely by solo signing in random games. I'm not claiming that these are going to be the best thing to use in every situation, they're just there to help you out as a basic guide. And I really suggest that you watch my other content such as my live streams and my YouTube videos to see how these tactics can be employed, and also very importantly how they're changed depending on the team lineup and how the situation develops. So this week we're looking at Pearl River, which is a very interesting map because in my opinion there aren't any real strong winning positions where I feel like you can dominate the map from just holding one location. Why is this? Well, the whole of the center of the map really is impassable apart from light tanks which can manage to sneak up here if they get a push. What this means is that as you can't locate in the center and shoot out as I usually like to, the battle really develops on two fronts. One along the south part, and the second developing around the north part. One of the key things about Pearl River is that the bases are completely open. The bases are completely open. What this means is that, for example, in the green base, you can defend from the corner here, you can defend from above, you can even defend coming back from the heavy line if the mediums have rushed in. It is so easy to defend the base on Pearl River for both locations. I'm not sure what you guys have found in the short time that this map has been out, but I found that really, I'm never too worried about the enemy capping my base. I feel that as long as I have enough time to get back and they don't cap with 2 people or with 3 people very, very quickly, that I can get back and I can interrupt almost all the time. With that in mind, I really feel that Pearl River is a map where you need to completely eradicate the enemy team. Capping is really not suggestible at all as a tactic, unless the enemy have completely zerged down one of the passes with all of their team, and then either you set up a heavy defense with a large amount of your team, or you have to try and make the cap happen. But be mindful that really you're going to just get absolutely annihilated from almost every angle into the cap that you're trying to take. So Pearl River becomes a 2-pass attack. One round the south where I feel that light tanks, medium tanks and some of the tank destroyers can use, and I feel that the north is destined for heavy tanks and for heavy tank destroyers. So what I like to do with my heavy tanks when I spawn at green base are to work my way along this path, stopping exactly here. I like to take the high road. Why do I like to take the high road? Because there's a ridge line along here that provides you with an artillery shield. The artillery will find it very hard to take you if you locate up directly at this location in the top pass. This allows you to shoot down past this rock, and it also allows you to shoot down on enemies that try and locate up at these locations. Really, you're just going to have to use your skills to outplay the enemy here. Use your third person, see when the enemy are not aiming their guns at you, go out, poke, and come back. Try and do as much damage as you can without taking hits, and eventually you will win the north, without taking much artillery fire. So if I spawn at red base, I also like to attack the north. Now, one thing that I see teams do wrong time and time again is holding the back, holding this corner, holding the little rocky outcrops around here, and not pushing. You do not have a choice. You have to get up into here. You have to get up into here. You have to get up into here, where this rock sticks out here, this very prominent rock. You have to take the advanced positions. If you don't, you will be stuck down this bottleneck in this tiny narrow pass, and the enemy will have lots of different directions of fire onto you, and your very linear position will be dominated, both from artillery that can locate around here and drop bombs on you, and also from above. So you must get up to this location and you must poke the enemy as they come over the ridge line here. Once you advance and win the upper ridge, which is what I like to do, then you will have shots down onto the enemy from the other passes. Once you've made it to the upper ridge, you will have an artillery shadow, and that's what I like to do. I like to not take any damage from artillery and get as many effective shots off as possible. Occasionally, some heavy tanks like to make their way to the town and use these buildings. However, I feel that unless you can see that your team is completely outnumbered, medium tank and light tank wise, and you've only basically got heavy tanks, then seriously you cannot afford to give the north up easily. If you allow your team to crumble in the north, which often what happens, I feel that's a very easy way to lose Pearl River. You just can't let the north crumble. You, as the skilled player, the competent player, have to be up there carrying your team, ensuring that they push early, away from the bottleneck, get to the ridge lines, and advance. That's what you have to do if you spawn from red base. You have to advance. So equally, green base and red base heavies can use these buildings, but just be mindful to only use them if you think that your team is going to win the north. So I'm not going to do so many points of victory today for Pearl River, because I feel that it's more of a free-flowing map, which is very linear, and it's basically a fight down 2 passes, and you have to continue advancing and continue fighting, and there isn't one individual location really that you have to just overcome and win to be able to really have a big control on the game. That being said, for heavies, I really feel that the most important location is right here on this map. If you can win here, you can make your artillery effective, you can make the enemy's artillery ineffective, and you can also dominate by shooting down on opponents. So what do I like to do with my medium tanks on Pearl River? Well, it's a fight for the south in my opinion. I don't like to go to this area here because I feel that people who like to locate up on the north ridge will be able to just own you. I feel that this place is too open and that you should try and avoid it at all costs. So if I'm spawning at green base, I like to take this route, and when I reach here, this is where you have to start to be prepared, because between here and here, this is where the engagements start to happen. There are some opportunities for excellent shooting along the ridge lines that you can stop if you feel that the enemy advancing through the town, and just take side shots into them. It's basically a case of try and dominate this stretch, and then keep advancing, keep advancing, keep advancing, keep fighting, killing everything that you can come against. It'll become a bit of a dogfight, especially if you meet equally matched opponents. Once you reach the enemy base, try and take out the artillery that like to hide behind their buildings, and also the artillery that like to hide in the bushes around here, and even some of the artillery that might be locating around here. If you feel that the enemy team has pushed on and is controlling the north, the artillery will continue to go north. Once you've cleared out the artillery, taking the base is only an option, in my opinion, if you feel that the enemy are going to outcap you. Quite often, what I like to do once I've cleared out the enemy is start to make my way back. If the enemy have taken the north, there is an excellent corner here that you can defend. This corner is so easy to defend, and I almost love it. I love it when the enemies cap. They like to congregate around here at the back, around this ring, and you often have a couple of artillery and tank destroyers are located up here. You'll poke round this corner, you'll spot them, you've got a lovely hull down location. You can absolutely trash anyone who tries to cap. So to quickly go over what I like to do, advance along the south corridor, make it to the enemy base, take out the enemy's artillery, then begin round back to try and take out the northern team as they have approached your base. My tactics for red base are very similar, just a mirrored version. I like to take this route. When you reach here, you have to be prepared to have an engagement between these 2 locations. Once you've outfought the enemy here, keep advancing. You'll maybe have to poke at some enemies that'll be located down here on this corner. Keep advancing, try and dominate the north ridge, take them out, and if the enemy have advanced through the northern pass, then now's your time to fall back and have absolutely easy shots back into the base. My tactics for light tanks are very similar to medium for this map, but I will do less of the dogfighting, and I will actually take closer to the shore front, the outline that I'm showing you here. There are lots of bushes that you can stop along the way, which can give you ample opportunity to get long range spots, so you can spot any of the enemies that are foolish enough to go down into the lower pass, and they will get crippled by your medium tanks and also some of your tank destroyers and heavies that use the upper pass. I like to patrol this region and also give assistance to my medium tanks when you can see good opportunities. If you can get into the enemy base and try and take out their artillery, that's brilliant. And then after that, it's time to pull back. Only use this corner if you're feeling very confident. In a light tank, you want to try and use your long view range and your great camo to try and work around these areas here to get spots on the enemy that are trying to advance into your base. Alternatively, in green base, there's a very interesting option to be able to go up here. Once you've made it up here, you can actually advance onto the hill. When you're up on this hill, you can spot the enemies as they come from the north. So I sometimes like to go up on this hill in my fast light tanks when I think, okay, the enemies are going to win the north, and I'm just going to sit here and I will literally stay hidden the whole game, spotting them right from here, all the way into the base. Now you can create a huge kill zone here. You often have artillery, you often have some tank destroyers, able to just blitz them as they come in. You can get some really good spotting damage done here. Also remember that there are some opportunities for you to fire against solo opponents. You can see me here using the double bush technique to be able to shoot Ike through these trees, and he's unable to see me if there's a tree between me and him. There are also opportunities for you to get up this slope here, where you can then advance around. Quite often, light tanks like to hide up here to be able to spot back down into the base, basically achieving the same sort of thing that I will do from the north. But I prefer the north because it allows me to spot this location rather than when they just come into your base. From red base, it's the same sort of thing. In my opinion, patrol the mid-ridge, try and go in, take out the enemy artillery if you can, and then pull back. You've got lots of opportunities to spot from bushes here, and even from locations here. Red base doesn't have any funky locations like up here for green base, but you can create a kill zone from this bridge onwards if you've got competent artillery players and some tank destroyers. You can often use some of the bush locations around here, pulling back at the last possible moment. Again, with your medium tanks and your light tanks, you have to really look at the team compositions. You have to think, is my team going to win north? And you have to preempt it. You have to preempt it so you give yourself enough time to be able to relocate so that you can spot for your team, and so that you can interrupt the cap, and so that you can dominate the game. With my tank destroyers on Pearl River, I mostly like to go into the North Pass, playing it like I am a heavy tank. If I've got a super heavy TD, sometimes I won't take the upper path, and I'll locate here from Green Base, or alternatively on the opposite side. Now the reason why I do this is that if you've got a good superstructure, like on a Jagdtiger or an E100 Jagdpanzer, with a punchy accurate gun, you can actually manage to go completely safe hull down here. You might take a few artillery shells, but you'll be able to slow down the enemy and be able to pull off some amazing damage. As an example of using this location, check out my second video of my 8.6 review, and you can see me doing it with an E100 Jagdpanzer. Alternatively, some of the tank destroyers can use sneaky locations here to defend when the enemy come round the north, or use their excellent camo rating to assist the medium tanks in the fight for the south. Basically what I'm saying is that I feel that the heavy TDs should go north and fight it out, and the faster TDs might be able to use the south, as it takes much longer to do this route than it does to do the direct route. It'll take you twice as long. Really, when you think about it, if you're in a Jagdtiger or an E100 Jagdpanzer, as an example, you won't be able to make it around this pass before the north battle has decided the outcome of the game. So either what you want to do is say that you're going to defend at these locations, shooting back into the base when the enemies reach the kill zones here and the kill zone here, or alternatively you need to go and join the fight in the north. If you're in a faster TD, then basically what I suggest is assist your medium tank, and then, instead of progressing into the enemy base like a medium tank would and then having enough time to pull back, I suggest that after you've assisted your medium tanks, then you double back and you prepare the defense, hopefully with your light tanks and your medium tank spotting for you. So guys, the tactics for Pearl River are a lot more flowing. There aren't any individual points, in my opinion, really strong locations that I feel that you can just go and dominate from. This is a lot because of the center of the map being impassable, and importantly that I'm really trying to hit home that this map is a battle of two flanks, a battle from the south and a battle from the north. I'm trying to give you tips to be able to create kill zones here, and also trying to really instill the importance in you guys that you monitor the north. If you're fighting in the south, you have to still know what's going on in the north, because it's up to you. You're the only person in this game, for all you know, who's competent. It's completely up to you to get back into the base to be able to defend. So if you know that your north flank is losing, you have to get back into the base, use these corners, use these bush lines here to be able to spot for your team and also do the interrupts. Pearl River is one of my favorite maps now that I've figured out how to play it. It took me a long time to figure out the way to win the north, and the way to win the north is the upper route. And originally I thought that red base had it so hard compared to green base on this map. I thought, oh my god, why am I even playing this? It's so easy to defend the green base, and red base is slightly harder to defend in my opinion. But then I figured out that you just simply can't stop here. If you stop here, you are a scrub. You will lose the game. You're an absolute power donkey. You have to get on ahead. You have to make this your engagement line. You have to engage up here. You have to engage here. Have to fight for the upper route, which is where I suggest. Let your team fight for the lower route. They'll take more damage, but you're going to survive. You have to survive. You have to win the game. Take the upper route. Win the upper route. Take no damage from the artillery, and then progress into the enemy base and win the game. So I hope this theory has been useful to you and you'll be able to implement it into your games. Really, Pearl River is a free-flowing map, and that's why I'm not highlighting any individual locations. I'm just trying to give you the general theory overview of the map, because I feel that it's the theory that people are doing wrong now. This is a fresh map, and really people are just playing it so badly. They're really playing it so badly. This has got to be one of my favorite maps out at the moment. I always love having games in this. I feel that it's great for every tank. I don't feel that there's a tank in the game that has a bad game on here. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, think about rating it down in the bottom and make sure that you give me your comments and your upvotes as to what map you want to see next week. As always guys, thanks a lot for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.